Welcome to Laricy Live. You want to know what's happening in the real estate market? Then this show is for you. I'm your host, Matt Laricy. Today, we are doing a podcast that we did almost a little over a year ago, pre-COVID. Remember those days? Walked around without masks?
Is this your first podcast in person again?
No, we've had a ton of podcasts.
Oh. With people that came in here?
Yeah.
No,
Really?
It's always been on. I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
We've had a couple since then with other people.
You've had a lot of virtual stuff too.
We've had a lot of virtual.
Mostly virtual.
Yeah. But
By yourself.
we're doing a recap, a new version of Ask Matt Anything, where we took a bunch of questions from social, from our agents themselves, from the network, what people wanted to know. And we brought Catherine and Jamie, who've been with us for how long?
I worked here like 8.5 years, I think.
That's like a third of your lifetime.
It's a really long
Actually, it's a fourth of your lifetime, since you're pretty much 40 here.
time. Not 40, I'm 36.
36. Okay. And how long for you?
5 years in August.
5
5
years.
years too long.
5 years too long. I like that answer. That's great. Okay. So we're just going to have them read the questions and add in some whatever else they want to and go from there. So who wants to start with you guys?
I'm going to start in the middle. How do I be like you?
Well, I don't know who asked this question. I would say that I've talked about this a lot. I'm big on routine. So no matter what it is, I think you want to find a good routine. And I think that's one of the main things that you could do to try to get successful.
Alrighty. What are some of the biggest things that other real estate agents don't get or get wrong?
Education. Example, yesterday, that text message that I sent to the group telling me what is standard. I think too many people think that they know everything and they're actually uneducated completely in the business. And I think that's what most people get wrong. And I think that's why a lot of people aren't successful, is because they don't actually learn the business. And I think that's the biggest problem that faces real estate agents and faces the existence of having realtors in the future, is that people just aren't educated in the business.
How would you say they should learn the business? Like, what would you do as a new agent?
College course, 4 years. I would literally take 4 years, know I'm going to make no money, and just go work in an office and listen to how people talk, walk, just follow people around, do a lot of odd jobs on the side, like side of real estate is, like showings, lockboxes, things like that, and pick up the business.
What if you're like not on a team and you don't have those kind of opportunities? How else would you suggest it?
Then just figure it out yourself. Learn every book, listen to these podcasts, listen to other people's podcasts, watch YouTube. I mean, there's so much ways. When I was started, there was no, I don't even think YouTube existed. If it did, there wasn't content on there. Like I would just teach myself stuff. I would read as much as I could. They had blogs, but do you guys remember blogs? Those were like super popular. Now there's vlogs.
Those weren't that popular.
Okay.
I'm too young for that.
Okay, well, blogs were popular, so I'd like read what people like wrote and stuff like that, like in like firsthand, and like, there's always ways to find information. With this thing called the internet, you can pretty much find anything you want.
Got it.
Okay. What is the best way to get new leads, pair or otherwise, for listings that are not family or friend referrals?
Open houses. If I had no business, I would sit in an open house and I would sit in the lobby of like a building and try to talk to every single person that came in. Just because people are super nosy. So if you do an open house for an agent on their listing, 5 weekends in a row at one building, you're bound to see the same people at least 2 or 3 different times. And if you're a personable, charismatic person, you're going to start up conversations, and then these people can remember you. And if they liked what you said, guess what? When they go to sell, they're going to remember you. That's how a lot of people get business. It's easy. Getting business is easy. I think the business part of trying to get it is probably the easiest part of it. Managing it, I think, is probably the hardest part.
Got it. What is your take on agents that offer less than 2.5%?
Bullshit. No. I mean, you're allowed to offer whatever you want. I mean, there is we can't talk what the standard is. I mean, everybody's able to ask whatever they want to ask. I have no opinion on it.
Got it.
What were some of the strategies that helped you grow your business initially?
I have a never quit attitude. I'm a big checklist guy. Do you know,
Yes.
Have you ever seen
Yeah.
when I don't get...
If something's on Matt's checklist, how many times will he call you to make sure that it was done?
I got about 7 emails about
The same
pictures
thing?
yesterday, the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I like stuff done. I that's the thing about me, though, is that like I would say like I've always had it ingrained in me that like I'll just keep going at it till it gets done. Like to me, I never understand why people can't get what they want, because if you really want something, all you have to do is work for it. We as of today, we live in a country where, you know, you could literally have any opportunity given to you if you work for it. The biggest thing that people have nowadays is that we are a little bit more PC. So, you know, when we don't get our way, we throw our feet and throw a temper tantrum, and we just give up and we blame everybody else. And that's the problem with society today in general, is that like we don't get pushed. So when we get pushed, we just crumble. When I got pushed coming through the rankings, I pushed back and I fought. And I kept fighting each and every day, and I knew this would suck. I say this all the time. My first 4 years in the business, I made less than $17,000. Like, most people would have quit. And there was a few times where I wanted to quit, but I just kept working at it. And that's your work ethic, and you're willing to continue to work for something is what's going to make you great, not just good.
Why do you think technology will not completely replace real estate agents?
I mean, I have you guys ever called Comcast?
Yeah.
Either one of you guys?
Yes, I have called Comcast multiple times for this office.
Okay. And Comcast is a great product, but like, what's your experience like? I'm just curious.
Like being transferred a bunch of times, sitting on hold, and then they say they'll call you back, and then they do.
Right.
Most of the time, I can't get through to a person for about 25
You
minutes.
can't get through to a what?
A person.
A person. There's always going to be a need for human elements in businesses. You know, so I think technology is going to eliminate certain people in the industry. I think a lot of jobs can be consolidated. I think artificial intelligence is eventually going to wipe out some things that you don't need to have as in office. But at the core of it, there's still going to need to be realtors to try to make the transaction be smoother so people can have somebody they could go to talk to. It's very hard just to type in a question when you're about to spend your entire life savings and wait for a bot on the other side to give you an answer.
I have a question on that. It's not on here. What do you think about agents that don't adapt to new technology?
Adapt or die. I mean, it is. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like people who don't have like
Email.
they have like at AOL.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
DocuSign,
or somebody told me the other day, how about that offer in Irving Park?
Couldn't read it.
They did a fax to email. Who does that? That was like huge in like 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have a fax machine, do we?
No, at the main office we do.
Yeah.
My dad's got an at AOL.com
Yeah.
address. My dad doesn't listen to these, but I'm making fun of you.
I'm gonna tell him. You gotta listen to it.
All right. Okay. I don't know who asked this question, but where is your go-to deli sandwich?
Man, there's two places I like the most. Galleria Market, which it's in my 3-block radius.
We were just talking about before we started that Matt doesn't leave a 3-block radius.
Yeah.
Like there's 10 places he goes to.
Yeah.
All the workers there know him.
Yeah.
Yeah. There, or I do like Bockwinkel's, and shout out to supporting local businesses. I like I like a fresh
Where is that?
cut deli sandwich. There's one right next to 222 Columbus. So if I'm showing during lunchtime, like I always grab a deli sandwich from there. It's like $5 too.
We call them Buckwinkel's.
Bockwinkel's.
Like a
I've
buck.
never been there,
Bock.
so I couldn't.
It's the last name.
Oh.
Jen
I did not-
Bockwinkle
I
is
did not
married
know
to
that.
one of my best friends, Chris.
Got it. I did not know that.
Shout out to Chris and Jen. They're big supporters of the company.
All right. Maybe we can stay on one of another fun questions. Do you have any vacations planned?
I'm going to Napa on July 4th weekend. It'll be my first vacation since last July 4th,
That's exciting.
which got cut short the second I landed.
Yeah.
By the way, guys,
Stay-at-home
last year I took a quick vacation. I landed, my phone turns on, and there's like 50 text messages from Catherine saying like, "Hey, you got to come back home in 2 days because there's a stay-at-home order now." And it was like, I felt like it was like like rubbing salt into a wound. Like I went a high to a low like really quickly.
Well, you would have had to do the 2-week quarantine, technically.
Yeah. So
So what happened? You had a panic attack,
And
paid
then
a crap ton of money to come home.
I paid a
and-
shit ton of money, like a shit ton.
You came home one day early.
I know, but
It started Monday, you
they
came home
announced it,
Sunday.
and then like there was only like one flight on Sunday, and I had to take that flight, and then to arrange it was like I didn't want to tell you how much it cost. It was disgusting.
Sorry. My fault.
And then we landed, and then like I really thought they were gonna start like quarantine people at the airport, and realized that they didn't enforce this rule at all.
Yeah.
But I'm a
Better-
rule follower. I'm
better
an
safe
ethical
than
person.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other vacations planned?
We're trying to take a family vacation in August, first week of August. It's been a nightmare trying to plan it. There's text messages going off now.
We should take a vote on this podcast where you guys should go, since you guys are so up in the air about where you're going.
I'm like, here's a house, I'll book it and pay for it. Let's be done with it. And my wife's family is like the most indecisive family I've ever met in my entire life. They don't even know. Like, I'm like, here's a house that we're going to get. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Nicole just sent me a text saying, I don't like the wall by the pool. And then Kimberly said, yeah, that couch looks weird in the living space.
I guess going on to this.
What are we doing here?
Are you guys planning to have any more kids? Somebody would like to know.
I mean, I don't plan on having any kids. I didn't plan on having one kid, so now I got two.
Don't say that on a podcast.
What? I'm just saying I didn't like go.
Okay, but do you hope one of your kids takes over your real estate business someday?
If that's what they want to do, you know? I would never want to be. I think for me, the best thing is that like I literally. I don't even like love what I do. It's just part of my life. It's just like part of my identity. So, and I know that people say that's terrible and I'm going to get pushed back, but it's just it's literally what I love. So if one of my kids feels that same way, it's great. But if they, one wants to be a teacher and the other wants to be like a scientist, like whatever, I don't care.
Who's going to take it over for you then?
It's just crumble. Maybe my brother will come out of nowhere.
Nice.
I have a feeling Roland's going to be a boss. So.
If you could live anywhere in the world other than Chicago, where would it be?
I already know that.
I know.
Napa.
Yeah.
Napa or Paris. One of the two. Those are my two. It's like the only places I travel. I keep trying to travel to places like new to find, and then I get there and I hate it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why did I just spend 3 nights that I'll never get back in my life back?
Could be like Matt in Paris, like Emily in Paris.
Oh my God. I mean, you know what? Emily in Paris, not that you'll ever see this, but I would take a cameo in there.
You wouldn't eat the pastries like she does there.
I mean, if I'm on vacation, I'll have a pastry.
But you'd have to live there.
I'll tell you though, like if you eat 2 pastries in a row, like 2 days in a row, like I just don't feel right.
That's true.
But she's eating them like every day. That's all I kept thinking about. I was like, she's like bone thin, and she's eating like a pastry every morning.
I mean, I think it's a show.
Okay. A little unrealistic.
All right, so I'm going to jump back to real estate. Why not put up a lockbox for rentals or listings where there isn't much to show?
It's just the way business is done. I mean, honestly, like I think with some rentals, especially if it's like a walk-up, it should be on a lockbox. But I don't run the rental stuff. That's a Mickey question. That's up to him. I don't micromanage my agents. I let you guys do your stuff. I mean, obviously if you're doing something wrong, I'm going to yell at you. But you could do things your way. I mean, on smaller buildings, 3-unit walk-ups. I mean, we have to protect the seller and make sure that the property is being presented the right way. And considering that most agents aren't that great at knowing the area, we need to try to sell the property.
Got it. Are there any new developments in real estate technology that you're excited about right now?
I think artificial intelligence is going to change real estate completely. I think there's 3 huge things that are going to change. I think 1, the way people show properties is going to be different. I really think agents are going to be semi-Uber drivers in a way. And the fact that like, instead of them sending us a list of places with their days and times, they're literally just going to click. And you're seeing this on Zillow and Truly now and Redfin. They just click Wednesday, 12 o'clock. And that's when they expect to see the place. Everybody expects. There's no asking. It's expectations. And you know what? That's how society is being pushed towards these days. So I think the way people show properties, eventually all software is going to be developed in that like agents are going to be popped up. They're going to pick a property. These agents are just going to show them property. I don't really think you're really doing your client that much justice since you're not really like going over what the property is with them and stuff like that. But I think that's where that's going to go. Second thing is I think artificial intelligence is going to take over the way people communicate with people. So like Zillow, Redfin, and some of these other big sites are mimicking what we say, how we walk, how we talk, and they're creating software and bots that are able to kind of like answer questions quicker. And the third thing is I think people are getting rid of paper entirely and moving towards NFC tagging. We were the first people in Chicago to do QR codes. Remember when everybody made fun of us for doing QR codes? Yeah. Now everybody's got the QR codes because we did them. And I think NFC tagging is the next step after that. NFC tagging, near field communications. It's like Apple Pay. You walk into a unit, your phone dings, brochures on top of there.
Got it.
Those are my 3 technology pieces.
How do you do that? I've never done that before. I've literally never walked into a property where I've gotten a notification.
Nobody does it right now. It's still coming.
Okay.
You said, where is technology going?
I did.
Okay.
It's not there yet.
All right.
We're coming at you from the future.
Okay. How do you get so many online reviews?
I asked for them. I think a lot of people don't ask for them. I think if you do a good job, people want to give you a review back. I mean, we're probably batting 50% in the spring. And I don't think it's because we're doing a bad job. I think people are super busy right now. So we have to follow up. And that's our fault that we haven't followed up with a lot of the most recent sales. But typically, if you do a really good job and you follow up with people immediately after, they're on that high, they'll fill them out. I don't know about you guys, but I get asked to do reviews for people all the time, hotels or whatever. I had a great experience, like an unbelievable experience. But like they send it to me like a week later and like I'm off that vacation high. Yeah. And like I don't give a shit. I'm like I'll tell if somebody asks me where do I stay, I'll recommend that hotel. But like I kind of like I'll get to that review. And you keep saying you're gonna get to it. And then it's like 2 months from now and you're completely off vacation high, so you just delete the email. Yeah, you forget about it. Yeah. So like you got to follow up. That's the other thing. You should follow up every quarter. We were following up every quarter. We've kind of dropped the ball the last, year or so on that. But I mean, we're still doing very, very well in getting reviews. But the biggest thing is you have to ask for them right away and you have to follow up. I think it's tacky if you ask them for something to get a review, which a lot of people do. Like I'll give you a gift card or something like that. Yeah. I don't need to bribe somebody. I think if you like our services, we provide you a service. A review's not a terrible thing to do. I don't think you should pay somebody to do it because I don't feel like it's justified then, right? I feel like if you have to pay somebody to give you a review, is it really a review then, or are you paying somebody to do something?
Yeah. I think you have a lot of clients too that right after they want to give you the review, they're excited and ask you about it. So. Yeah,
we do get a lot. I would say probably a quarter of the people are like, where are those sites? Because here's the thing is that when you have a lot of reviews, people almost expect to do them. They're like, hey, I found you from your reviews. Like, how do I write one? That's like a big one.
Do you think Yelp is a waste of time?
No, I think every avenue is good. I think you should find out the avenue that works best for you. And I think Yelp is a good avenue.
Yelp is the best. I love Yelp.
I use it when I go to town.
Lately, I've been hating Yelp. I don't know. Do you read some of the, what I always do is I read the 1-star reviews, I focus in on the 1 stars. And it's always people the waiter was late and didn't put salt on the table. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. So lately I feel like Yelp has gotten a little bit obnoxious.
Well, you get a lot of people on Yelp that have nothing to, they just Yelp everything. They may have went there 2 years ago one time to pick up coffee and they're like, well, let's just Yelp this place.
Or if they have a bad experience, I feel like people Yelp. Yeah. Because when they're angry, you also review people.
I just really review about read if the food was good.
I look at pictures of the food while I'm at the restaurant, and that's how I decide what I'm going to eat.
So do I, or I look at other people's tables.
Yeah. So how's this real estate related?
Going back to real estate, do you plan on hiring any more agents?
If we get there, we get to capacity, we're going to have to take somebody else on. It just depends on how busy we are.
Okay. Any new suit color trends we need to know about?
This is pretty sick.
Oh my God. When did you do that?
This is pretty cool. These are all comic book guys. This is I've been waiting to wear this suit. So this is my new trend.
Is that brand new?
Did Daniel do that?
Yeah. Oh, so awesome. Now I want to get suits with comics in there.
Cool.
I think it's pretty sick. Want another picture of that? Look at that. That's sick. This is my new trend. Getting cool comic book stuff in there. I'm wearing my Spider-Man socks with it to compliment Spider-Man in my inside suit. So otherwise, that's just about it. There's only so much you can do with suits.
How much wine do you drink every night?
Depends on the day.
Agents, pay attention to this when you're emailing Matt after 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, I definitely have 1 glass. If I have 2 or 3, it depends if I was too stressed out that day, which is terrible. It's terrible.
Question is really funny. Are you considering on getting a winter car next year? Abel said you should get a car like mine.
I talked to Tesla about it. Apparently, there's a company you could just change out tires, and they'll store the tires for you. It's $600 for the year. So I'll probably do that because it's a lot less than getting stuck and towed or blowing a tire. That was fun.
Do you think you'll get stuck in your alleyway again this year?
I mean, this service center building is atrocious, but that's a different story.
Okay, talking about where you're living, if you couldn't live in River North, what neighborhood would you live in?
Ooh, River North? Maybe West Loop or Lincoln Park. I kind of like East Lincoln Park if it's a vintage house that looks like something from Paris that is modern on the inside. That's probably the type of property I'd buy. If I didn't live in a high rise, I'd buy an old vintage Parisian house that's super modern inside. I think those are sick.
Is there a listing that we've had that you would consider living in?
I saw a house the other day with a client that was like, I would buy this house, but I don't want a house.
That's interesting because like all your taste I feel like is so modern. To like something like that, it's like
I like old meets new sometimes though too.
Let's see. What, I guess kind of going back to real estate again, do you recommend working with buyers or sellers you actually don't like?
I mean, there's probably a quarter of the clients that I don't like and probably don't like me. Like, when somebody likes you or doesn't like you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
just,
also know when somebody doesn't like you.
yeah. I mean, it's a business transaction. I mean, you can't, like, I used to get really upset when people didn't like me, and then I realized that, like, you're not gonna. It's statistically speaking, not everybody's gonna like you, no matter who you are. Like, it's just the way of life, and I think other people understand that, but this is a business, so it's a professional interaction. So although I may not see eye to eye with somebody, there's a mutual respect. I mean, we just closed with somebody that hated our guts, like literally hated us. I'm not gonna say which property was. We got fired from it originally, and then took it over again, and closed on it. And they wrote me kind of a snarky email after I was like, thank you. They're like, yeah, F you, essentially is what they said. But, at the end of the day, we got the job done. And I think people have to realize is that if you don't see eye to eye people, the biggest problem I have with working with them is that they're very degrading, or they're constantly tell you, like, talk down to you. And it's hard not to lose your temper when you've had a tough day, when you have this guy that that doesn't like you, that's kind of talking down to you. You just have to keep your cool. And at the end, if you want to do a lot of business like we do, you're going to run into this problem. And at this point, I let it roll off my shoulders. Remember those people, the loft on Gray Street, was it? That one couple that hated me. It was like everything about it. It was even like the buyers that bought the place were like, man, we feel bad for you. Like, these sellers really hate you. And we crushed it. We got it over ask price. It was in Lakeview. Yeah. They had the swing in their unit and stuff. Yeah.
The buyers bought the sage stick.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we closed it, and they kept yelling at me. We broke the record for the building. It's still the highest price sale ever. No, thank you. Nothing. But, sometimes it is a transactional interaction, and people are going to say well, I don't want to be one of those agents that does transactional interactions. And I'll tell you right now, if anybody's listening to this, if you want to do above $100 million a year, you're gonna have a lot of places where it's just a sale, and I don't feel good about them either. But sometimes it is what it is. Again, statistically speaking, you're not gonna get along with everybody.
I should ask this question since I just was reading it. Why aren't you getting to know your clients on a personal level? That should bring in more business.
I don't agree with that statement at all. In fact, I try not to get too personal with my clients in general. And I'll tell you, a good example is that when you get really close with a client, you have a different relationship with them, and they look at you differently. This is why I think going out to dinner and drinks with them is a terrible idea. And I know everybody over here is going to sit there and saying that's I think it's the best idea ever. Great for you. To me, the way I look at it is this, is that if I need a new heart, okay, and I like John, the heart surgeon, the best. He's my best friend. Is John the best heart surgeon, or am I going to seek out the best heart surgeon in the country and have that guy do it? I want the best, okay? And the way I look at it, when I become too close with these people, I feel uncomfortable having conversations like price drops, or the pressure feels way bigger when we're not selling it. Because at the end of the day, now I know them on a personal level. I know John and their little kid, Steve, and their wife, and I know everything about them. And when I was getting into the business like that, I realized that I was not anywhere near as good as I am today with it, because I felt bad. And I wasn't performing as good as I think I could, because I felt for them, And unfortunately, this is a business. You can't have those type of feelings. You second guess yourself a lot of times. You kind of I know we should drop the price, but I know John's going to get mad at me. So I don't want to ruin our relationship. So I'll wait 2 weeks. Well, guess what? If you would have had that honest conversation 2 weeks ago to drop the price, you probably would have sold. But now you didn't sell the property. And now John's going to fire you, and John hates you now. And now you and John aren't friends. And now there's animosity. Now all John thinks about is hey, I used to like Matt. He was a good guy, but I didn't like him anymore because he didn't perform. Do you know how much business I get? I'm not even joking. I'd probably say $25 to $30 million of business I get a year, where people tell me that, hey, I really like my agent. I like them better than you. I like, he's a friend of mine. I just don't. we were working together and it just didn't work out. We just got too close. I actually see people lose more business over it. And that's why. And like, I decided like probably 12 years ago that like, I like these people. I talk about this all the time when I come in the office after like a great meeting. I'm like, man, I would fucking hang out with these people. Like, I love them. Like, they are the coolest people in the world. But I have to separate myself from it. And sometimes it sucks because there's an old saying in the book, like, it's lonely at the top. Like, it does. Like, there's a lot of people I'd love to hang out with. But like, it is what it is. Like, this is the business.
It's lonely from the top. Is that from Queen?
From where?
The Queen movie where he's
No.
like, it's lonely at the top.
But I mean, any if you read any business book or any book about guys that, you know, ran, like, were super famous, warriors, Caesar, Hannibal, stuff like that. Everybody quotes stuff like that.
Well, I think kind of getting into that too, especially you become friends with your agent. You see they're on, like, look at their social media.
Yeah, it's like a different story.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a little weird.
I actually get uncomfortable when I see clients out now. I do, because it's like you're on this business relationship platform, and then like you see him like out at, like, as you said, I'm never out. Okay, once in a blue moon, I'll go out and I see like one of my clients and they're fucking hammered, right? And like, and which is fine, you know. I get drunk, everybody gets drunk, you know. But then it's like kind of uncomfortable, right? Because now I know him on a very professional level, and then they're really, really drunk. It's just like, it just feels awkward.
What percentage of people do you think work with you because of your social media presence?
2%.
Really that low?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe, I mean, if you compare the business, I think maybe. I mean, I think a lot of people look at our social media for advice and follow us. There was a guy, you heard the Zoom the other day, where he said he's friends with or follows us on Instagram. He watches all of our podcasts, and he was working with a different agent. And then he fired the agent, came to us. And I think it was because like he saw that like we know what we're doing and they didn't know what they were doing, and like we convinced them. But like it's hard to quantify like how much it actually brings in. I do think a lot of our clients and people follow us, but I can't put a percentage on it.
Do you have any of my friends that like actually do follow your page though?
I don't know.
And they're like, oh, I saw that post. I saw Cooper on Matt's Facebook the other day.
Oh, Jamie got a new puppy. It's called Keys at the Office.
No, his name's Cooper.
So anybody that ever sees Jamie's dog, make sure you say, hi, Keys at the Office. It's a great name.
What is your favorite exercise at the gym? Somebody would like to know.
Yeah, that's a weird question. I have a trainer twice a week. I do whatever he says. And then I do a boxing class. So whatever they do. There's not a particular one I like. There's a lot of exercises I don't like.
Okay. How is your new place?
It's fine. I like the floor plan. I think it's perfect for having a family. It's a lot less modern than what we had.
What do you admire about other big agents across the U.S.?
You know what? I will. Let me touch on that for a second, though. What I like
Your
about my
place? Okay.
is that I have a balcony and a grill.
Yeah. Oh.
And we can't make fun of you anymore for not
all
having
these
a
years,
balcony.
Matt's like, I'm not a balcony person.
Well, I like going out to grill. I grill. I was thinking about this yesterday. I grill every day of the week. Every 6 days. Well, 6 days a week. One day I get a pizza a week. But 6 days a week I grill, and I do like having it.
Mashed potatoes every day.
No, but in the fall I kind of get into mashed potatoes, and I don't like really eat them anymore. I take like 3 bites and throw them out. But like I like a little bit of a
That's
compliment.
such a
with
waste of food.
them. I know
like,
it is.
honestly,
Nicole says that
hurts
all
my
the time.
heart
Like
sometimes.
I make a giant meal every night, and like I have so much leftovers, and I just toss them.
You know what I think of your balcony every time I see it? When we had to get on the like elevator when it was still constructed.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, we were kind of scared
That
all
was
to do it.
terrifying.
You were the only one that was like willing to do it.
yeah, I'm like,
Catherine
wow.
and I were like,
It was like negative 10 degrees. It was cold.
Oh yeah.
it wasn't properly covered. There was like a little gate, and like anybody could have easily fallen out if it
Okay,
fell
well,
out.
when you ride one Bennett, when we did that, and it was like 60 stories up. Now I was shitting my pants up there. I'm not. I always tell people like I'm not afraid of heights, but like I'm also not one to stand like at the edge of 60 stories up and like think I'm fine.
Do you remember we had that listing at the Aqua? I think it was on like 78.
Oh, yeah.
And like the balcony, the railings at the
Yeah.
Aqua are so low.
Yeah,
like
my
that.
client made me go on the balcony, and I was like, I'm not going on the balcony. He's like, if you don't come on the balcony, I'm not buying the place. So I went on the balcony, but I was like, oh man.
That scared me
Yeah.
a little bit even. What's your favorite actually out of all the new buildings in the city now? What's your favorite?
For a high rise, honestly, I think they're all just like okay. Maybe when Chicago one is done, we'll see.
You just think all the buildings are okay.
I mean, that's probably the biggest. Actually, a lot of clients like complain about that. They're like, you just say it's okay. I mean, we see so much. It's hard to be like impressed.
What about Noir?
No, ours good. It's great. It's the best. What was the question you asked before that? Who do I admire?
Who do you admire about other, or what do you admire about other big agents in the United States?
I mean, I look at a lot of other agents to see what they do for inspiration, just like people look at us for inspiration. I mean, I don't like take idea for idea, but I think there's a lot of stuff people do in different cities that I'm like, oh, that we could implement that here. I mean, somebody told me a great idea was to text a video to a lead, so I tried it, and Catherine said it was very creepy. But I mean, I'm willing to try anything, you know. Like, I don't feel uncomfortable. I'll tell you, probably one of the most freeing moments in my life, I can remember it. It was when I was 25 years old, and I just stopped caring. Like before, when I started doing video, like before anybody did, like at 22, and like all my friends would make fun of me, and everybody'd say it's so stupid, and like what a loser you are, and like you kind of feel bad when you do stuff. You know what I mean? Like you feel like an idiot. And then like when I hit 25, I was finally like, fuck it. Like I literally don't give a shit what people think about me. I don't care anymore. And it was probably the most freeing part of my life, is just being done with it. And it feels great. It feels great not to have to worry about like what people think or what people judge you for. I'll tell you right now, if somebody wants to say like one of the main reasons that got me to where I am today is like I just do what I want. I don't think about like what people are going to think about me. So I look at what other people do across the country, and I'm like, it's good or bad, whether it's my personality or not. Like maybe I should try this, because just like everybody else, I have an ego and I think like I know everything. But like I always try to dumb it down for a second and say like, hey Matt, you don't know everything. Like try something else somebody else is doing, and maybe it will work. And a lot of times what they're doing maybe doesn't work my type of business, but like I'll tweak it and be like, wow, this was like a really good idea, and it made me think outside the box a little bit. Like that didn't work, but what if we did this with it? And that's a huge thing. We get a lot, like a lot of innovation comes from that.
Is there other things from different industries that you've taken and tweaked and used for your own?
I look at a lot of stuff like Apple does, Nike, like some of the other big companies. I'm trying to think. I remember I saw like some like weird YouTube like shoe ad for like I don't even remember what the company was. And it was like, yeah. Or like where we took our latest website from was some like architect office in like, I don't even know where in the West Coast. And like, we didn't like take it exactly, but like, we're like, wow, that's a good format. And then all the websites started going there. So it's like, you know, I try to always look at what other people are doing, no matter what the industry is, because everything could be related to real estate, because it's a personal business.
What do you think currently is the best neighborhood in Chicago to invest in?
Near North Side, Gold Coast River North, Cedarville, Old Town. It's trading as of today. I won't say the date because I'm not supposed to say the date anymore, because when we release these, but there's 12.4 months of inventory. Typically in the springtime, there's hovering around 2 to 3 months of inventory. So there's 12 and a half months pretty much of inventory, which is the most inventory since the Great Recession, which means that if there's ever a better time to buy in your lifetime, it would be now. Because I'll tell you right now, you're going to be going back to work. I don't care what you tell me that you're not, you're going to be. And at that point, that's when the rush is going to come back here, and you can get great value right now.
What do you think that the agents like working for the Laricy team?
I mean, Nick's new over there. I mean, I think you know, we're really busy, and I think you can make a lot of money doing it. And I just think that it's not for everybody, though. You know, I think a lot of people want to coast. A lot of people get the real estate license just to kind of like, you know, be your own boss, and then they realize that you're not your own boss because you work for either another agent or you work for your clients. You always work for your clients, you know. So, you know, if you have the personality that you want to make a lot of money and you want to work, then yeah. If you don't, then you won't like working here.
Where do you think like the trends are going the rest of this year?
I think the market's going to remain hot pretty much the whole year. I just think it's going to slow down demand-wise. So I think we're going to see the demand for high-rises come back by like July, maybe August. But at that point, naturally, the demand goes down. And I think a big trend to watch for is Q4 for the international investors. A lot of people got a lot of money right now. As much as the media tells you that people aren't rich, people are filthy rich right now. The stock market's trading at an all-time high. People do not like having their money in stocks if they're international. They want to get their money here. It's called money laundering. It's a great way to get the money to the States. I had a Zoom call yesterday with a guy at 8:15 at night. He's in Hong Kong, and he wants to buy a bunch of property here because he's like, hey, you guys are so much cheaper than there. How do I get my money to America? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, figure it out. I'm not like kind of like I don't even know what that question meant, but I was like, sounds illegal. We're on a Zoom, probably being watched here. But I'll tell you, it's, you know, yeah. But I'm saying, like, why do you think, like, who do you think owns all these shell properties? Like, it's a bunch of like, there's probably a lot of illegal shit that goes into people buying this stuff. But my point is that people want to get their money out of the stock market. They want to buy here. Internationally, people are going to be able to travel by the fourth quarter. And I think that's going to be a huge trend to watch. Watch that pattern and I think that's going to push the high-rise market because mostly international people like buying high-rises. They don't like buying like 2 to 4 unit buildings because it's too much maintenance.
Are you still advising clients to list ASAP due to the low inventory market?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, statistically speaking, this is the best time of year to sell, and there's still the most demand. And it's like I compare it to going to Vegas. Like your odds are the best now, even though the trend isn't towards high rises. If you got one, put it on the market. You never know. I mean, there's some listings that we sold right away that were high rises that I was on the listing appointment like as negative as you could get. I'm like, this may take forever. And then next thing we get an offer day 2 and like, oh shit, you told me this is going to take forever. I'm like, statistically, yeah. I mean, there's 12.4 months of inventory out there.
You've moved a lot of your inventory this past week.
Yeah.
I can vouch to that because I'm
Jamie
about
was
to
out
have
of
a mental
town.
breakdown.
Yeah, Jamie was out of town, and I sold the most real estate in a week ever. And then she came back and we lost 2 deals. Just saying.
And it was a lot of listings that have been sitting for like a long time,
that
right?
one has been sitting for 2 years.
Oh yeah, a high rise, over 2 years.
That's great. Let's see. I guess maybe kind of going into virtual staging. Do you think virtual staging will continue after COVID?
No, I hate virtual staging. I think virtual staging is the biggest waste. We do it all the time because our clients ask for it, but it's stupid. People get in there, and the agents that are in here now could probably attest to it. They're like, where's the orange couch? And you're like, oh, it was just virtually staged. Like, what do you mean it's virtual? And you're like, well, we like, yeah. And then they're like, but where would the couch go? And we're like, well, here's the virtually staged photo right here. And like, I don't get it. I think this thing's made up. So yeah, virtual staging sucks. Just actually stage it. But we do offer virtual staging for free, so it's part of our package. But I'll tell you, I don't like it at all. I think the whole VR thing where people think people aren't going to walk through it anymore is bullshit. Like if you think that way, sorry, it's not going to happen. You're going to spend most of the money that you've ever made in your entire life. You're going to walk that property. I don't care what people tell me. People like to shop as much as Amazon, all this stuff is like. Most people have a lot of time on their hands and they want to go do something. I fully believe that a lot of people who look at real estate are just bored. How many times we get people who are like, that one girl, the one girl that was hammered looking at properties, she brought her friends, came from brunch, but she was too busy to go earlier. And then she's like, oh, I can't buy a place.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think too, just like showing the last year with like COVID and everything, no matter like if somebody, we would do previews for them, but they would always still have to see it in person. They'd come with like 2 masks on, gloves, but like I don't
They're
think.
like a hazmat suit.
Yeah.
Like, hey, what's that over there?
Okay, and they'd have to see it. Like very rarely does somebody buy something without seeing it.
What does it mean to be a Zillow partner?
It means, we're on a referral basis. So we are just a partner agent on it. That's all. We pretty much have to pay them a certain percentage of a fee.
I don't think we have very many left, but I guess, will your team hit a breaking point where you need to keep scaling?
Yeah, I think we hit one a little bit ago. Here's the thing, though, is that,
Yes, we did.
yeah, I think we've probably already passed the tipping point where, like, we need some things. But at the end of the day, too, you have to scale the correct way. Like, I feel like right now you got to work through it to get to the busy season, not to make a rash decision, just hire because you're too busy. Like, it sucks right now. It really does. And I think everybody's overwhelmed and overstrung right now. But I'm telling, it's the same thing I told everybody in October when people are just sitting on their hands. And they're like, we have nothing to do. It's like, it's going to be like that again in June. The market's going to be much slower. You can make a better hire decision. I don't want to feel like hire somebody just because I have a gun to my head with, especially on the admin side and things like that. It's like, I want to make sure I make the right. I think if we hired another admin that sucks right now, it would be more of a hinder than a help.
It would suck because then you would have to teach them everything
Right.
and then it wouldn't be worth it because you're
Right. You're sitting there
wouldn't
training them
understand
the whole
it.
time. But my point is that like in June or July, I'll probably hire a little bit more aggressively to make sure that like when we do get super, super slammed again, like we'll be completely fine. I don't think we were prepared to be this busy. I mean, I knew it was going to be like really busy, but I didn't think it would be this busy. And I think it's also part of the success that we were able to grow so much so quickly. Putting 100, I think we have 120 something deals pending right now, which is like out of control. And, you want to, I think the biggest problem people have when they scale is either they scale too quickly, so they hire too many people and then they topple, or they don't hire at all. Like I realize that we could probably use definitely one more admin staff, and probably by July we'll probably need one more person. But I think we can manage it going into next busy season because this fall you're going to be substantially slower. And what else I don't want to have is that you guys don't have any business. There's no leads to work because I hired too many people.
Let's Let's see.
Any last
Are
ones?
you
Sir?
ever going to switch to a skinnier tie?
I have a couple skinny ties. I don't think it looks right.
Ask these questions.
Yeah. It's a great question. Though.
Like I wonder if Matt's gonna switch to a skinnier tie.
It's an important question. Two more. Let's do two more.
What's your favorite date night restaurant in the city?
Ooh, I mean, honestly, me and Nicole don't go out to dinner that much.
You guys used to go out to dinner so much.
I mean,
every
we would,
Friday.
yeah, we would do like one a week, and I told Nicole we got to get back to it because like we do like my wife is like the biggest homebody in the world. Like she hates people and hates going out. But if we do, I like a steakhouse. I like Steak 48. It's probably my favorite restaurant.
Would you ever get a boat in Chicago?
No, never. I never understood why people have boats. I think a boat thing is just like a guy trying to act cool. So they're like, yeah, I got a boat.
Going to the playpen.
Yeah, I'm going to play that.
Go on those dating sites. Yeah, my buddy has a boat.
Yeah.
I have a boat.
Yeah, everybody's got a boat. Like, yeah. All right, so that wraps us up. What do you ever get a boat? I just saw the question there. I don't even look like a boat guy.
No.
Remember we went on the boat and I was
like one pair
Yeah,
of
I actually have a
pants.
picture of you when you were on the boat. You were wearing boat shoes, and I was like, I can't believe he even has
Did you
those.
buy those shoes for the boat?
no, I have one pair. But I was thinking. Wait, really quick before we end this. Do you remember it was a YPN event and we were getting on the boat and we were all like had like a panic for a second, like, hey, we're gonna be stuck. Nicole looked at me as we got on. She goes, just so you know, you're gonna be stuck on here and you're not gonna be able to leave this boat for the next like 2 hours. And I'm like, no, I can leave. She goes, you're going to be in the water. And like, it hit me. I'm like, we got to get off this boat. Like, I don't like being trapped somewhere.
And then do you remember it was going over the locks? Because
Oh my
we were
God.
on the lake getting onto the river, vice versa. And you were like, I could jump off because it was like from here to there, but the locks are like churning. I'm
Yeah.
like, if you fall, that's what you're falling into.
Yeah.
But you did contemplate jumping off the boat.
I was
over
so
the
like
locks.
mad. I'm like, we're stuck on this thing. It's like such a waste of time. I feel like a boat is a waste of time. Like, I get it. People feel it's relaxing. To me, it's like golfing. It's just like, let's go. Let's get this over with. So, all right. That's it.
Any
sure.
leisure activities.
Yeah,
Let's
right?
get this over with. Come on.
Anything fun.
It's like,
Do you like the beach?
I mean, you don't do it. That's what I tell Nicole. She'll be like reading a magazine. I'm like, what are we supposed to be doing right now? She's like, you're supposed to relax. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, can I make? She's like, go to the room and make calls. I'm like, but we're sitting here in the sun.
Do you bring your computer to the beach?
Yeah.
Doesn't it get sand like in the keys?
No, so like normally what we do is like she'll be like sitting on the beach like reading a magazine like relaxing, and I'll be like 20 feet back like underneath the umbrella like the table like on the computer, and like to me it's relaxing. I got like the sun's there. I got a drink and like I'm working like I normally would be, but I have an alcoholic beverage next to me. But that's
I
it.
actually want to tell you something really quick before we wrap this up. When I was on vacation, Brian thought I was going to work. So the first 2 days he didn't take off and he worked and I sat on the beach and did nothing. And he literally brought his computer down. I was like, wow, the roles are reversed.
Huh? I didn't know Brian had a job.
Oh, stop.
All right, make sure to hit the bell, tune in our next episode, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for listening to Laricy Live. Make sure to tune into our next episode and subscribe to our podcast. Thanks for listening to Laricy Live.